Imagine this. A person is shown an object, but only to the left half of their visual field. When asked what they saw, they say, nothing. But when asked to draw it with their left hand, they draw it perfectly. One brain, two answers. Which one is telling the truth? This isn't philosophy, this is neuroscience. And it reveals something unsettling about the mind you think you have. In the 1960s, neurosurgeon Roger Sperry began working with patients who had undergone a radical procedure to treat severe epilepsy, a commissurotomy, the severing of the corpus callosum, the thick bundle of nerve fibers that connects the brain's left and right hemispheres. The surgery was effective at stopping seizures, but it also produced something unexpected. It split the patient's perceptual worlds in two. Each hemisphere of your brain processes information from the opposite side of your body. The left hemisphere controls and receives input from the right side. The right hemisphere, the left side. Normally, the corpus callosum allows both hemispheres to share information, creating a unified experience. But when that connection is severed, each hemisphere operates independently. And because only the left hemisphere in most people controls speech, only it can tell you what it knows. So when a split-brain patient sees an object in their left visual field, processed by the right hemisphere, they cannot verbally report it. The speaking half of their brain genuinely has no idea what was seen. But the right hemisphere knows, and it can demonstrate that knowledge through action, pointing, drawing, selecting the correct object with the left hand. Two streams of awareness, one voice. What makes this so disorienting is not just the science, it's the implication. If severing a connection can create two independent centers of perception and decision-making, what does that say about the unity of consciousness we take for granted? Neuroscientist Michael Gazzaniga, who worked closely with Sperry, described something even stranger: the left hemisphere's tendency to act as an interpreter. When the right hemisphere makes a decision, say the patient's left hand reaches for a shovel after being shown a snow scene, the left hemisphere, which has no knowledge of why that action was taken, will invent a plausible explanation. "Oh, I need a shovel to clean out the chicken coop," the patient might say, even though the real reason was entirely different. The speaking mind doesn't say, "I don't know." It constructs a coherent narrative, even from incomplete information. The left hemisphere's job, in part, is to make sense of the world, to create a story that feels continuous and logical. And it does this whether or not it has all the facts. It stitches together a self from fragments, and it does so with confidence. We like to think of ourselves as unified, as having one perspective, one intention, one I that is in control. But split-brain research suggests something messier. We are processes that usually agree, but sometimes don't. We are multiple systems running in parallel, integrated by communication, but not identical in their knowledge or intent. And most of the time, we never notice the seams. This isn't cause for alarm, it's cause for humility. It means that the certainty you feel about your own motivations might be less reliable than you think. It means that the stories you tell yourself about why you did something might be justifications rather than accurate reports. It means that the voice in your head, the one narrating your experience, might not always know what the rest of you is doing. You've probably experienced this in small ways. You reach for a snack without deciding to. You find yourself scrolling before you consciously chose to pick up your phone. You speak and then wonder why you said that. There are glimpses of the gap between the different parts of your mind, the parts that act and the parts that narrate. The popular myth of being left-brained or right-brained misses the point entirely. You don't have a logical half and a creative half. You have two hemispheres that specialize in different kinds of processing, but work together so seamlessly that you experience their output as one. And even when that collaboration is interrupted, the illusion of unity persists because the speaking hemisphere keeps narrating. You are not one thing pretending to be many. You are many things cooperating to feel like one. And that cooperation is what makes you functional, adaptive, capable of responding to a complex world. It can help to hold your own certainty a little more lightly, to recognize that the story you're telling yourself about why you feel something or did something might not be the whole truth. Not because you're dishonest, but because the narrator doesn't always have access to the full script. We are more plural than we realize. And maybe that's not a flaw. Maybe that's the design.